Welcome back to Classic Radio Drama Theater. This episode brings you a diverse quartet of classic radio performances, each offering a unique blend of thrills and amusement. We'll dive into a world of comical romantic entanglements gone awry. Follow an investigator into the surprisingly lethal realm of poetry. Unravel a case where national secrets might just be tailor-made. And join a reporter whose investigation into one death could lead to his own. 4 distinct stories, packed with intrigue and entertainment, all in one episode. First up, from The Alan Young Show, it's a hilarious tale of rivalry and romance, titled Proposing to Lulubelle. When Alan's wealthy, snobbish rival interferes with his date plans, Alan hatches a scheme involving a charming Southern belle. But can Alan outwit the pompous Hubert Updike III? Or will his own plan backfire spectacularly at the altar?
Alan Young is here to greet you, everybody, everywhere. Every Friday at this time he comes to say hello by air. Brought to you by Ivana for the smile of beauty.
And Vitalis.
For well-groomed hair. Ivana.
Vitalis.
2 products you should know on the Alan Young Show.
It's Friday night again, and as usual, we take you to the little white cottage in Van Nuys, California, where we find the star of our show, that young man who is young today and young forever, Alan Young.
What a wonderful evening today.
Hey, what you so happy about, Alan?
I got a date with Betty.
Well, you've had plenty of dates with Betty.
I know, Zero, but I made up my mind. Tonight, I'm going to kiss her.
But, Alan, you told me you did kiss her once.
Oh, that was an accident.
Accident?
Yeah, we were nibbling on a pretzel together, and our lips rounded a curve at the same time.
Hey, look, Alan, why don't you forget about girls?
Forget girls. You shouldn't talk that way, Zero. After all, love is what makes the world go round.
Not my world.
What makes your world go round, Zero?
6.5 glasses of beer.
Oh, stop being so silly. Oh, the phone. Probably Betty. She worries about me. Hello? Oh, hello, Betty.
Oh, that's Betty.
Betty, yes. I guess you can hardly wait for me to come over tonight. You go what? Oh. But, Betty, why won't you go out with me? Hubert Updike, eh? Okay. Okay. Goodbye, Betty. Zero, that was Betty. She broke her date with me.
Oh, you're really nuts about her, aren't you?
I worship the ground her father would like to see me buried under.
You know the trouble with you, Alan? You're not a man of action. You know, once somebody tried to steal my girl, Sen Susie.
Susie.
You know who he was? Bone Crusher Kelly.
He sounds like a tough character.
Yeah, but that didn't stop me. I walks up to him and I says, listen, Bone Crusher, this town ain't big enough to hold the both of us, see? And you know, he was nice enough to help me pack.
You're right, Zero. Less talk and more action. Gee, if only I could think of some way to get Hubert out of the picture. What would make a fella forget about a girl?
Well, all you gotta do is get Hubert interested in another girl.
Another girl, that's it. That might take his mind off Betty. But how could we get another...
Wait a minute. I got an idea. Yeah. Set a trap for him.
Yeah.
Who was it that hooked Cary Grant? Ingrid Bergman. Who hooked Humphrey Bogart? Lauren Bacall. Who hooked John Garfield? Lana Tyner.
Yeah, Zero, but where can we find that kind of bait?
Well, how about that girl who just moved into the neighborhood? That southern thing. She's beautiful, and she's loaded with dough.
Zero, she sounds perfect. I'll get Hubert interested in her. The next thing... Here comes that Hubert Updike now. Filthy rich Updike.
Rich, huh? He really shows off his dough, huh?
Yeah. Who else has a radio where the Lone Ranger yells, hi-ho, gold?
Look now, don't forget, Alan. Remember to get him interested in that girl.
Okay.
Oh, Alan, I'm here. Come gaze at me. Soon it will be night and my petals will close.
make yourself comfortable, Hubert. Here, sit down on this chair.
No, I'd rather stand.
Why, what's wrong with this chair?
It looks like it's already been used.
Listen, Hubert, when are you going to realize that people are all equal?
Ooh, what you say. You're talking to an updike. My ancestors came over on the Mayflower, and they got off at Chrysler Rock.
Chrysler Rock? You mean Plymouth Rock?
Mine waited for something better to come along. But I must be going now. I'm on my way over to Betty's house.
Oh, you are?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I hear she broke her date with you to go out with me. Is that true, Alan?
What if it is?
Oh, Mother, turn on the oven. I'm cooking his goose tonight. Oh, that was a witty one.
Hubert, you can go out with Betty if you want to. It's perfectly all right with me.
Alan, what's this?
Go ahead. Go out with Betty. Matter of fact, I've got my eye on somebody else. It's that new girl down the street, Lulubelle.
Oh, Lulubelle. Yeah. That southern girl. Yes, I met her last week. Not bad, Alan, not bad.
She's the beautiful, intelligent, and besides, she's the wealthiest girl in America.
Oh, she must have plenty salted away.
Yeah, she's got quite a shaker, too. Matter of fact, Hubert, she's got nearly as much money as you.
Oh, that does sound intriguing. Alan, I think I am going to marry Lulubelle. In fact, I'd like to go over there and propose to her right now.
Well, that's fine. Why don't you?
Well, I can't. You know I'm nervously maladjusted. I just can't propose. When I snuggle up to a girl, my breath comes in short pants. Huh? Heart, Shafter, and Marks, of course.
Hubert, you could put all your family fortunes together. All her cash and all your cash.
Then we could settle down and raise little deposits. But, Alan, since I'm so shy, maybe you would do me a favor and propose for me.
Oh, sure, Hubert. I'm an old pal of yours, and I'd like to do you a favor, that is. I'd be happy to go over to Lulubelle's right now.
Oh, bully, just plain bully. And, Alan, while you're proposing for me, do you mind if I use your telephone?
Not at all, Hubert. Hey, Zero.
Yes?
Zero, we're going over to Lulubelle.
Lulubelle's. I get it. Come on, Alan. Let's go.
Oh, that Alan Young fell right into my trap. Now to dial that number. Oh, I do love to dial the telephone. Hello, Lulubelle? This is a friend of Alan Young's. Look, Alan is on his way there to propose to you. Yes. But the poor boy is so shy, he'll tell you he's proposing for someone else. Yes, he's really proposing for himself. He's crazy about you, Lulubelle. Goodbye. Oh, this'll be my chance to gloat over Alan. Oh, gloat.
Mind if I make your mouth water? How would you like this for dinner? Chicken a la Ritz, whipped potatoes, creamed spinach, lemon meringue pie. Sound good?
Boy, does to me.
Well, me too. But do you realize that every one of those foods I mentioned is soft and creamy? And delicious though they may be, they fail in one important respect. They don't give our gums the exercise they need to help them keep firm and healthy. And firm, healthy gums, you know, are so important to sound teeth, brighter, more sparkling smiles. That's why so many dentists recommend Ipana toothpaste and gum massage. For Ipana, when used with gentle massage, helps give our gums the stimulation they need to keep them firm and healthy. Ask your dentist.
A national survey shows that 7 out of 10 dentists recommend gum massage. Not only that, but dentists themselves prefer Ipana toothpaste 2-to-1 over any other dentifrice for their own personal use.
So for the health of your gums, for sound, bright teeth, a more sparkling smile, why don't you try Ipana toothpaste and gum massage? I-P-A-N-A. Ipana. Folks, remember how John Alden proposed for Miles Standish? Well, right now, Alan Young is on his way to Lulubelle's to propose for Hubert Updike. Of course, what John Alden Young doesn't know is that Hubert has explained to Lulubelle that Alan is really proposing for himself. So let's join Alan and his pal Zero on their way to Lulubelle's house.
Zero. Yeah? I don't know how to go about this. I've never proposed to a girl. Well, not for a long time, anyway.
You mean you once did propose to a girl, Alan?
Well, it was a long time ago, Zero. I was only 9, and she was 63.
60? And what made you propose to a dame 63 years old?
Oh, she was wonderful, Zero. She was tall, dark, and used to lend me her ear trumpet. I was the only kid in school who could put a curve on a spitball.
Now, look, Alan, you won't have no trouble. Go on up and propose, and, slip her this ring.
Zero, where did you get that ring?
I took it off of Hubert's finger before. Huh? If you're proposing for Hubert, he ought to be supplying the ring.
Well, that's a good idea, Zero.
Yeah.
Look, you just wait out here for me, huh?
Okay.
Yum dum today, yum dum today. Yeah. Ooh, oh, hello, Lulubelle.
Well, Alan Young, my great big sugar plum. Is that you all?
Not really. Part of it's padding.
Come on in, you great big hunk of man. You're as welcome here as a big mess of hominy grits and fried chitlins.
Well, thanks, Lulubelle.
Ah, why are we standing here, Alan, when there's a great big comfy sofa just crying for company?
Okay. Lulubelle, I came here for a very important reason.
Oh, I know you did, honey child. But can't I fix you a drink first? How about a nice mint julep?
I'd rather have a Coke.
But, honey child, us Southerners are famous for our mint drink.
Well, give me a Coke and throw a lifesaver in it.
Oh, I just can't understand you Northern men. Oh, Southern men are so impetuous. They just carry you away.
In California, we have cars.
Oh, you all just don't like poor little old me all.
Why, sure I do, Lulubelle. Just that this is so important to me. I came over here to propose.
Well, shut my mouth.
I would, but it sounds so unsanitary. You see, Lulubelle, I'm proposing for a friend of mine. He's too shy to propose for himself.
Oh, I understand perfectly, honey child.
You see, this friend of mine has lots of money. He's handsome and he's very anxious to marry you.
Well, Sugarfoot, hug me till my levees break.
You mean you'll marry this friend of mine?
Well, of course, I want a proposal in the Southern tradition. You know, us Southern girls are so romantic. Make it soft and mellow.
Well, if that's the way you want it. Lulubelle. You're as delicate as a magnolia blossom. And your eyes are as big and bright as a southern moon.
Oh, that's more like it, honey child.
You're from the peach country, and I'm from the orange country. What do you say we merge and make a fruit salad?
That is the nicest proposal I ever heard.
And Lulubelle, to make this proposal with my friend official, here, let me slip this ring on your finger.
Oh, Alan. Oh, what a beautiful ring. Oh, I'm crazy about it, Alan. Let me give you a great big hug.
No, please, Lulubelle, no, it's so tight. You're bending my pocket comb.
Oh, that was a real Southern hug.
I know. My Mason and Dixon just changed places. Well, I really got to be gotten now. I mean, got to be getting now. I mean, so long. Gee, whew, those Southern girls. Better go over to Betty's house and tell her about Lulubelle and Hubert. But first, I'll stop and bend my pocket comb back into shape.
Daddy, I hated to break that date with Alan tonight.
Betty, you've been seeing too much of that Alan Young.
Oh, you're always picking on Alan. After all, every person on this earth was put there for a reason. There must be some reason why Alan's here.
Well, I haven't got any ideas, but Darwin had a theory.
Oh, Daddy, you shouldn't say things like that.
Oh, hello, Betty. Hello, Papa.
Oh, hello, Hubert.
Well, Hubert, my boy. Come right in.
Yes, thank you. I've got the most sensational news. It's about Alan.
News about Alan?
Yes. Alan has just proposed to another girl.
Oh, I don't believe it.
But you believe it, don't you, Papa? Hubert, I may hate Alan, and I may have a low opinion of him, but I'll say this much for him. He's too stupid to lead a double life.
Oh, it's true, it's true. Cross my annuities and hope to get dividends.
I can't get over it. Alan proposing to another girl.
Well, after all, Papa, you can't judge a book by its cover.
Well, if that particular book ever shows up here, I'll tear off its index and kick him in his category.
Oh, how could he do this to me? Oh, that must be Alan now. I'll let him in, Dad.
All right, Betty, but just leave him to me.
Hello, Betty. Hello, Mr. Denton Pepper. Hello, Hubert. Should we try it from right to left?
Alan, you'd better clear out. The Denton Peppers won't have anything to do with you.
But what's wrong? What have I done?
You know what you've done. You've made Betty the laughingstock of Van Nuys.
Laughingstock of Van Nuys? Oh, no. I was with her, but she picked out that hat by herself.
You know what I mean. You've been seeing another girl.
Another girl?
Alan, there must be some explanation.
Well, if there is, I'm ready to hear it.
Oh, then you admit that you've been seeing another girl.
Betty, I admit nothing. I'm innocent. Innocent, I tell you.
You mean you haven't been seeing another girl?
That girl.
You haven't proposed to another girl?
Propose.
Sugar Plum, here's your Lulubelle. Let's get married tomorrow. I'll wear my new strapless gown. What'll you wear?
Miss Lulubelle, did Alan Young propose to you?
Sure enough.
Alan Young, what have you got to say for yourself?
Mr. Denton, I can explain the whole thing. I was proposing for Miles Standish. I mean, Hubert told me that John Alden, Lulubelle was John Standish, and Miles was gonna. Any questions?
Alan Young, you led my daughter on with your promises, and I'm going to see to it that you're not going to make another girl miserable. You're going to marry Lulubelle.
But Mr. Denton Pepper.
Alan, that's the only fair thing to do.
But Betty.
Oh, Sugar Plum, you all know how all and you all feel about us all. So after we're married, we all move down south. And if you all feel the same way I all feel, and you...
Ooh, such a blabbermouth.
Well, folks, usually the happiest day in a man's life is his wedding day. However, today, Alan Young is marrying Lulubelle. And we find the reluctant bridegroom all alone in an upstairs room in Lulubelle's house, waiting for the ceremony to begin. Alan is making his final preparations.
Got the tie around my neck just right. Well, if I can only kick the chair away with my feet. Oh, well, Young, you're crazy. Why don't you look at this sensibly? You love Betty and you know it. Why don't you sneak out the door and get away? That's an idea. I'll just tiptoe through the door and...
Going someplace, Alan?
Hello, Mr. Denton Pepper. I was just practicing how to carry somebody across the threshold. Yes, just practicing carrying somebody over the threshold.
Alan Young, put me down.
Yes, Mr. Denton Pepper.
You're not getting out of this room until they start the ceremony. Now get back in there and stay there.
Why didn't I talk back to him? I didn't propose to Lulubelle. I don't want to get married to her. Get tough with me, Willie. Only one reason I didn't let him have it. I haven't got it. Guess you're trapped. You're going to have to marry Lulubelle. Come in.
Hello, Alan.
Oh, Betty, it's you.
Alan, I just came here to wish you a lot of luck, and... Gee, just look at you, all dressed up formal. Top hat, white tie, and turtleneck sweater.
I'm not going to wear this sweater. I just got cold thinking about the wedding. Believe me, Betty, no matter what happens, you're the only girl I'll ever love.
Oh, Alan, it's not fair to Lulubelle to say things like that.
That's how I feel, Betty. I should have told you this sooner, but I I guess I'm pretty shy.
Alan, you're the shyest fellow I ever met.
Yeah, but I did take you through the tunnel of love once.
Yes, and I'll never forget that evening. There I was, sitting in the boat, and there you were, swimming along behind.
I guess it's all over now, Betty. Those things will just become fond memories.
Yes, Alan. Goodbye.
Oh, before you go, Betty, would you do me a little favor?
Oh, anything, Alan.
Well, would you take your father out of the hall and take him downstairs for a glass of punch or something?
Why, certainly. Well, goodbye, Alan.
Bye, Betty. She's talking to Mr. Pepper. There they go down the hall. How's my chance? I'll just tiptoe out and I'll...
Oh, Sugar Plum!
Oh, hello, Lulubelle.
Oh, honey child, I'll bet you all couldn't wait to see me all.
Yeah.
What do you think of my wedding gown?
Seems rather daring.
Oh, Sugar Plum, how can you all say that? My grandmother wore this at her wedding, and my mother wore it, too. This is a hand-me-down.
They didn't hand you down enough.
Oh, you're so clever. I just can't wait for my father to meet you.
Well, maybe your father won't approve of me. After all, he's a southerner and I'm from the north.
Oh, well, Sugar Plum, Father don't mind me marrying a northerner. Oh, no. The only type of man that he can't stand are those rough westerners.
He can't stand westerners, huh?
No, he hates them ever since those cowboys shot up the town while he was making a speech. Oh, but he'll like you, honey child. Come on, now, let's go downstairs. He's just dying to meet you.
Oh. Doesn't like westerners. Huh?
Oh, there's Father over there with those people. Oh, Father!
Yes, my little magnolia blossom.
Here he is, Father, my own little old Sugar Plum. Now, you two get acquainted while I mingle with the guests.
I'm mighty proud to make your acquaintance, Alan.
My friends call me Tex.
Hey, I can hardly believe my ears.
You call them ears? Back where I come from, they're mighty handy for fanning flies off in cows.
Are you the man who's taken my daughter away from me?
Hold on, stranger. Nobody can call me a horse thief.
This is impossible. You can't be the man who's going to slip a ring on her finger.
Slip a ring on her finger? Well, I'm going to brand my initials on her side. Clip her ears together. Smile when you say that, stranger. I'm plenty tough, see? Well, I eat cactus for breakfast and wool for lunch, and for dinner, I spit sweaters.
I've stood enough of this.
Reach for the sky. I'm starting to throw lead, see? I'm going to fill you so full of holes you'll be able to drink a mint julep and sprinkle your plantation at the same time.
Well, that settles it. The wedding is off.
Hello there, Colonel. Hello, Alan, my boy.
Mr. Pepper, you know how I feel about Westerners. Well, this cowboy threatened to kill me.
Alan's no cowboy, Colonel. He's just a practical joker. Just wanted to see if his future father-in-law could take it. Ha ha.
Yeah.
Well, I can take a joke as well as the next one. Come on, Tex. Lulubelle's waiting by the preacher.
Oh, Sugar Plum, here you are.
Yes, Lulubelle.
Soon the preacher will make us one. I'll be part of you, and you'll be part of me. We'll be part of each other.
Won't there be confusion when we're getting dressed in the morning? Listen, Lulubelle, there's something you should know.
And now will the bride and bridegroom please step forward? Do you, Lulubelle, take this man for your lawful wedded husband?
I sure enough do.
And do you, Alan Young, take this woman for your lawful wedded wife? If there is anyone who knows why these two shouldn't be united in matrimony, let him speak now or forever after hold his peace.
I got plenty to say.
Just a moment, please. Just a moment, please. Who is this meddler?
I ain't no meddler. I was in the war, but they never give me one.
Cyril, what do you got to say?
The ring, Helen. Huh? How can you marry a dame when she's wearing somebody else's engagement ring?
The ring. That's right. Let's look at that ring.
There seems to be something engraved in this ring. Let me see now. This ring is the property of Hubert Updike. If found, please return to the First National Bank and receive the Second National Bank as a reward.
You see, Lulubelle, you're supposed to marry Hubert Updike.
Well, shut my mouth. Hubert's a wonderful fella.
Well, shut my mouth. Hubert's a good catch.
Ah, Hubert's a dope. Oops. Hey, somebody shut my mouth. Oh, Betty, isn't it nice sitting here on your front porch again?
Oh, yes, it is, Alan. And you're not sorry that you're not married to Lulubelle, are you?
Of course not, Betty.
After all, Lulubelle had stacks of money.
Betty,
Yes, Alan.
I think you're pretty well stacked, too. Friends, during the week, please remember the two fine products that bring you this show: Ipana for the smile of beauty and Vitalis for well-groomed hair. Ipana Vitalis. Until next week, then, this is Alan Young saying good night.
This is James Wallington to remind you that Alan Young can now be seen in the 20th Century Fox picture Margie. The Alan Young Radio Show is written by Al Schwartz and Sherwood Schwartz.
This is NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.
From the hilarious hijinks of high society romance, we now shift gears with Jeff Reagan, Investigator in the episode There's Nothing Like a Pork Chop When Supper Rolls Around. A commercially successful poet is receiving threatening notes made from cut-up verses, warning him off a competition. Is this merely professional jealousy, or is something far more sinister being composed, leading Reagan down a path to murder?
My name's Reagan. I work for Anthony J. Lyon, Detective Bureau. They call me the Lion's Eye.
Sunday at 8:30, and CBS brings you Jeff Reagan, Investigator, starring Frank Graham as Reagan, with Frank Nelson as Anthony J. Lyon. So stand by for mystery, suspense, and adventure in tonight's transcribed story titled There's Nothing Like a Pork Chop When Supper Rolls Around.
It took a heap of threatening notes to make Buddy Huckle afraid, and we had plenty of threatening notes in this one. Individual words cut from poems and pasted on plain white paper to create a message of death. If you enjoy poetry, you hate Huckle. And everyone connected with this case enjoyed poetry. Maybe it has something to do with a dictaphone that wound up telling too much and a leggy blonde that told too little. It was 3 p.m. when I checked in with my boss, the Lion, at the Detective Bureau. Somehow he looked different.
Jeffrey, my boy.
Then I saw he was wearing a flowing black tie.
Listen to this, Jeffrey.
Where's your cape, Fatso?
Listen. Listen to the exhortation of the dawn. Look to this day, for it is life, the very life of life. In its brief course lie all...
Poetry? You, Lion?
Well, just because you have no appreciation of the finer things in life, Jeffrey, doesn't mean that
Whose poetry?
Well, mine, of course.
You, the head of a detective agency, writing poetry?
A man who appreciates the beauty of the universe, the richness of living...
What's in it for you?
What do you mean by that snide remark?
What do you get out of writing this poetry?
I reap calm, peace, my boy.
How much money?
Now look here, Jeffrey.
How much?
$10,000 if I win.
Win what?
Well, our new client told me about the contest, my boy. There's a $10,000 prize for the poem, which, in the opinion of the judges...
I thought. Okay, Lion, who's the new client?
Buddy Huckle, The poet, America's Bard Laureate.
What's Hucklebuck's trouble?
No, Buddy Huckle. It seems someone is trying to intimidate him, keep him from creating more poetry.
Where do I find this bard?
At his office.
Office?
Well, he has to work someplace. Now, you get right down to this address and do what you can.
Did he, pay you?
There was a check for $200. Buddy Huckle is solvent.
Well, for an artist, that's suspicious.
You do a good job, my boy, and the Lion Detective Agency might turn up in his memoirs.
If I expected to find Buddy Huckle writing poetry in a hidden nook, I was in for a surprise. His office was on the Miracle Mile, brand new building, all glass and angles and curves. I checked the address the Lion had given me just to make sure. This was it. I squeezed into the Lucite elevator with salesmen, briefcases, secretaries, and a temperature of 110. Up in his office, there was a small desk and a little man behind it. Maybe 50, with a pink, seamless face and short white hair like popcorn glued to a billiard ball.
May I help you, sir?
You're Buddy Huckle?
Just a moment while I staple these poems.
My name's Reagan. I'm from the Lion Detective Bureau.
Oh, yes. Mr. Huckle told me you were coming. Won't you sit down? I purchased that chair from the estate of H.W. Longfellow.
Where is Mr. Huckle?
Just a moment while I...
use the stapler.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Mr. Huckle now. Yes, sir, Mr. Huckle?
Come in here, Laszlo.
Yes, sir, Mr. Huckle.
Running behind schedule today.
Coming, Mr. Huckle.
The little man grabbed at a stack of stapled poems and made for the inner office, his arms and legs working like a crab's. When he disappeared into the inner office, I took a look around. Hung on the wall was a certificate of merit from the Amalgamated Advertising Agencies of America, made out to Buddy Huckle. It read in gold leaf, "Your poems move merchandise." There was a stack of magazines on Laszlo's desk. I reached for one and was about to open it when Laszlo reappeared from the inner office.
Dear, such a busy day.
When can I see the poet?
Oh, soon. Oh, you disturbed my stapler.
I must have done that when I picked up this magazine.
Yes, a wonderful magazine. Mr. Huckle contributes to it regularly.
Uh-huh. Folk stuff.
Yes. Mr. Huckle again. Yes, sir?
Send Reagan in, Laszlo.
Yes, Mr. Huckle.
I may go right in.
Why, yes, but don't take too much of Mr. Huckle's time. He's a very busy man.
I found Buddy Huckle seated behind a bluish cast aluminum desk. Very utilitarian.
Utility, Mr. Reagan. No frou-frou here.
Buddy Huckle had been handsome, but now he was a gross 40. His overlarge face hung in little white puffs, damp-looking.
Your time, Mr. Reagan. You don't get work done sitting in the sun.
Over Huckle's desk hung the motto, "Drive."
Reagan, I can give you 3 minutes.
You're paying for it.
Hey, Reagan, I like you.
Thanks.
You're utilitarian. No frou-frou. No...
What's the matter, Huckle?
Little white box on the desk.
Huckle was dying. His lips gathered blue patches around the edges. His huge head rolled weakly. I opened his desk and found a small white box. Inside there were pills as big as bullets. I shot one into his gaping mouth and he swallowed. In moments, his body firmed and he seemed to have come out of it.
Heart attack, Reagan. Nothing. Have them all the time. Drive myself too hard, but that's all right. I've got money.
Makes nice salad.
You've given me a poem.
You use a dictaphone?
Of course. Did you think I wrote poetry with a quill pen and olive ink? Title, Money Ain't Salad. Money ain't salad, neighbor. Won't help you when you're down. There's nothing like a pork chop when supper rolls around. So spend your wealth, but not your health. Live wisely. Take a tip, for money sure ain't salad. It sure won't cure the grip. Signed, Buddy Huckle.
America's Bard Laureate.
Exactly. $100 a line.
Who's giving you trouble, Huckle?
Don't know. Take a look at these.
Poison pen notes.
Nasty business.
Uh-huh. Paste-up letters. No one's handwriting appears, so you couldn't check a typewriter. Very smart.
Yeah, all these words came from my published poem.
Yeah, individual words cut out of the poems, then pasted on a plain piece of white paper so they form a message.
Read that one.
One more poem with a chuckle, and death will take you, Huckle.
Oh, crude poetry. Rank imitation of my product.
And someone's threatening your life.
Trying to scare me into not competing in this year's Hotchkiss Award for time capsule poetry.
Time capsule poetry?
Yeah. The winning poem is placed in a time capsule and buried for posterity by Hotchkiss University. To win means nationwide publicity and, of course, a $10,000 prize.
Yeah, the Lion told me. You have any idea who might want to stop your...
You're creating? No. That's why I'm paying your agency.
Mm-hmm. Who publishes most of your stuff?
I have a contract channeling my efforts into Folk Stuff magazine.
Okay, Huckle. If you need me, call me at Folk Stuff magazine.
Wait, Reagan.
Yeah?
Reagan, I'm scared.
He was scared. But it didn't stop his reaching for the dictaphone when I left. I'd given him another idea for a poem when I said I was going to check Folk Stuff. The magazine was located out in the acute section of Westwood. The building was 3 stories high and constructed to look like Paul Bunyan. The elevator operator said,
"Howdy, neighbor,"
and took me to the editorial offices. I expected to see old Father William behind the editor-in-chief's desk. But what I found was young, blonde, formed by a strict diet and exercise, dressed by Vogue, and had a voice like a warm night.
"Come in, Mr. Reagan."
The secretary said I'd find the editor-in-chief in here.
"Sit down, Mr. Reagan. I'm the editor-in-chief."
Yeah.
"My name's Julie. If you're a writer, Mr. Reagan, I'll publish you."
Well, that's not what I had in mind.
"Then perhaps we might do a manuscript together."
That's nice, but...
I'll just turn on the phonograph. I hope you like American folk music.
Love it.
Get so lonely working up here in Paul Bunyan.
We can be lonely anywhere.
People think me unapproachable. I surprise them.
Sure, lady. Now about Buddy Huckle.
Oh, him.
Come to think of it, maybe I'd rather hear about you. How come?
All this?
Yeah.
Why, I'm in charge of a folksy magazine.
Something like that.
There's money in folks, Mr. Reagan. I bought out this magazine when I learned how many folks there were in America.
Oh. Do the, folks know about you?
We don't have many folks out here in California. Mostly the sophisticated type, Mr. Reagan. The kind that would take advantage of a girl if they were left alone with her.
Uh-huh.
But I see you want to get back to Buddy Huckle.
Yeah, I had that in mind.
What do you want to know?
Do you know anyone around here that would like to see Huckle stop producing poetry?
Practically all of us feel that way.
Or maybe kill him?
We're all of us capable of murder, aren't we, Mr. Reagan?
Works that way.
But why do you ask about Buddy Huckle?
Well, he has a contract with your magazine. You publish all his poetry.
There must be some mistake, Mr. Reagan. I don't publish a line of his.
I nodded once because of impact. Then I nodded again to say goodbye. I left still nodding to the elevator operator who said...
So long, neighbor.
You know anything about Buddy Huckle?
Just he's doing a big broadcast from an Oklahoma barbecue over Long Beach tonight, neighbor.
I headed for Long Beach to have a long talk with Buddy Huckle. It was beginning to look like a publicity setup. When I arrived, I found the broadcasting studio on the 5th floor of the Ocean Stone Hotel. Just outside the studio door stood a woman, middle-aged, her hand gripped in her handbag. That old look of murder on her face.
Let go of my arm.
What's in the handbag, lady?
If you think I'm going to say hairpins, you're nuts.
All right, let's take a look.
I got a gun.
I thought maybe...
Let me go!
You're looking for someone?
Yeah. That louse, Huckle.
You've been sending him love notes you've cut out of magazines?
Who are you?
Reagan, private investigator.
Well, I'm not afraid of you.
That's nice.
I was Buddy Huckle's wife, Reagan. Now he's cut off my alimony, and I'm going in there to shoot him dead.
A lot of people in there, lady. Witnesses.
Oh. Yes, say, you're right.
Thank you.
You talked me out of it.
Goodbye, lady.
Goodbye, mister. And thanks.
The broadcasting room was a regular hotel room that had been wired for sound. There was a character in a padded suit that kept eyeing a clock and rubbing his moist hands on his sleeves. This must have been the producer. Buddy Huckle was seated at a green-top table, his eyes on the papers in front of him. Wasn't quite 10, so I said hello.
Hello, Regan. I'm on the air in 2 minutes.
Oh, that's a lifetime, Huckle. If you had a dictaphone, you could make yourself $1,000 in 2 minutes.
Maybe 500.
You don't look scared.
That. You can forget our little talk of this afternoon. While I was dictating this afternoon, the culprit walked in, Mr. Reagan. I found out who it was threatening me, sending me the note.
Would you mind telling me who?
Well, nothing to worry about, nothing at all. I don't know why I was so concerned. Just figure your time and make me a refund on my retainer.
A certified pleasure.
Huh?
Quiet, please. We're ready to cut you in now, Mr. Huckle.
I'm ready, George.
Okay, stand by. You're on the air in a second. Take my cue.
Well, howdy, folks. This is America's Board Laureate, Buddy Huckle, talking to you. And, folks, I got a swell little old poem for you folks that I hope you're plumb going to like a lot. I kind of like to call it Money Ain't Salad. Goes, say, money ain't salad, neighbor. Won't help you when you're down. There's nothing like a pork chop when supper rolls around.
I couldn't take it. I gently made my way around George, the radio producer, to the door and out. It took me a little time to make my way through the crowd down to the street, and I stood there on the sidewalk for a few moments wondering about Buddy Huckle. Maybe Huckle wasn't as safe as he thought. That was his business now. And suddenly, high overhead above the sounds in the street, there was a shattering of glass. Screams from the street as a figure came hurtling toward the pavement. I jumped. Just in time. The body hit the sidewalk. If you looked hard, you could recognize what was left as Buddy Huckle. The final poetic touch was a framed sign that hit right after the body. On the sign was the motto, Drive.
This is CBS, and you are listening to tonight's adventure with Jeff Reagan, Investigator, entitled There's Nothing Like a Pork Chop When Supper Rolls Around.
A man's body was spread-eagled on a concrete sidewalk. He'd fallen, or been pushed, from the 5th floor of the Ocean Stone Hotel. The body had belonged to a poet named Buddy Huckle. Very popular guy. His discarded wife had been in the hotel gunning for him, and somebody had been sending Huckle notes threatening his life. Maybe his wife. Well, now he didn't have to worry about the race for popularity. He was dead. Since all concerned were L.A. people, Homicide finally put Sanducci on the case. When Sanducci finished in Long Beach, we drove back to L.A. in his squad car, the hearse following us.
Facts, Reagan. Look at the facts.
Facts can lie, Sanducci. What's your theory?
You can't convict on theory. Speed it up, Max. We'll never make L.A.
Okay, what are your facts, Sanducci?
Look, fact 1.
Let me try. Buddy Huckle is dead.
Smart boy.
Fact 2, he fell to his death from 5 stories up.
Right.
His former wife was spotted at the scene of the crime.
And she was gunning for her former husband, Buddy Huckle. You said so yourself, Reagan.
Oh. What about George, the radio producer?
He was still in the studio. Didn't see anything. Step on it, Max.
There were no witnesses.
There were 3. They say they saw a woman running away from the scene of the crime.
Oh, you know how witnesses become confused, Sanducci. They may all be wrong.
Said woman became lost in the crowd during the confusion.
Yeah, and you now have an all-points call-out on Buddy Huckle's former wife.
The woman is dangerous, Reagan. She's armed.
Well, didn't the witnesses say they saw anything else?
How much you want a witness to see, Reagan? Be satisfied.
You know the trouble with facts, Sanducci? You gotta stop when you've got all it'll fit. Where do you place that motto that came down on top of the body?
Give it time. It'll fit.
Yeah, well, it so happens it came from the wall of Buddy Huckle's office.
Look, did you ever hear of planted clues, Reagan? The dame is trying to outsmart us. She planted the sign, tried to throw us off.
All right, have it your way, Sanducci. Hurry up, Max. We got to get back to L.A. fast. Hey, why is he slowing down?
Regulations. Max doesn't take orders from anybody but me. All right, step on it, Max.
We arrived in town. The time of night you think you see figures waiting with knives in every puddle of dark. 3 a.m. First, I had to check with the Lion. I made it to his apartment. There was a wafer of light coming from under his door. I walked in. The Lion was sound asleep on the couch. A pencil hanging from his mouth, sheets of scribbled paper on the floor. Come on, Lion, get off.
Hello, public library. Send me. Oh, it's you, Jeffrey.
Expecting a love bandit?
I must have forgotten to lock the door.
One world and a lock on every door.
Oh, as a matter of fact, I was working on my entry for the Hotchkiss Award for Time Bomb Poetry.
Capsule.
Oh, yes. I have another stanza, Jeffrey. Listen. The glory of action, the splendor...
Lion, our client is dead.
Dead? Oh, but that's horrible, my boy. When?
No
How?
time for that. Look, I gotta have your help to find Buddy Huckle's former wife.
Yeah, but I'd planned on spending the rest of the night working on my poem.
Her first name is Mona. That's all we've got. You've got to find her while I check on a dictaphone and a blonde editor.
Oh, a description, Jeffrey.
About 5'10", medium build, brown hair. Last seen in Long Beach wearing a yellow cotton dress, no hat. You're racing the police on this one, Lion. And when you get her, hang on, but be careful. She's wanted for murder. For what I needed, there was only one place to go now. The inner office of the late Buddy Huckle. Dark inside the office. Very. The door to the inner office was locked. None of my keys would work, so I used my shoulder. The door gave, and I was in the inner office. I snapped the lights on. When a man's just dead and you're in his room, you keep looking around for him. And I was alone, and I saw what I wanted, the dictaphone. I played the wax roll that was on the machine.
Signed, the Bard Laureate, Buddy Huckle.
I heard a lot of stuff. Poems, mostly, delivered in his rapid-fire manner. Then I heard myself.
You used a dictaphone? Of course. Do you think I wrote poetry with a quill pen and mauve ink? Poem. Titled, Money Ain't...
I lifted the playback head. For luck, I tried the end of the dictaphone record. This was really good.
The sign comes, the silent thrust of death by the tempered blade. Sharp, sweet sharpness. I refuse to read any more of this tripe.
Yeah, that didn't sound like Buddy's rhyming cry-pie type of poetry. I played the very end of the record to get the signature, signed Buddy Huckle. But instead I got...
You've made me read this, but I won't sign this lousy poem.
That was the end of the record. Suddenly, without looking up, I knew there was someone standing behind me.
You're Reagan.
Mona!
I saw you earlier, now I see you again.
What are you doing here?
I ain't so dumb I don't know the cops are after me.
Well, they probably know you're here right now.
I snuck in.
Now, you're not going to reach into that purse for your gun again.
I hocked it in an all-night joint.
Well, look, why don't we just sit down quietly and talk, Mona?
Yeah, well, I ain't so dumb I don't know what you're trying to do, mister.
What am I trying to do, Mona?
Well, I just came here to see if maybe Huckle made out an alimony check for me and maybe didn't mail it.
That's what I'm trying to do?
I need all the money I can get now that the cops are hot after me for something I didn't do.
You're sure you didn't push Buddy Huckle through that window, Mona?
I ain't got the strength.
Guess not.
I need dough to run away from the cops, Mr. Reagan. Maybe you could take my case, huh? I got $6 for the gun.
Well, maybe I can help you, Mona. Look, hole up in the Rounder Hotel. Give a fictitious name. The police are liable to check this office.
Gee, you've been real good to me, Mr. Reagan. You took my case, and here's my $6.
No thanks. We'll take it up with the Lion later.
The Lion?
Never mind. But find that hotel. I've got to find an editor-in-chief. The phone book gave me Julie's home address. Julie being the editorial brains behind Folk Stuff magazine. It was almost dawn now, but when I rang the doorbell of her swank apartment, I got an immediate response.
Come in, Mr. Reagan.
I went in.
You know the police have already come and gone.
Yeah, they get around.
You're expecting to find something they didn't?
Thought maybe.
Drink, Mr. Reagan.
Well, it has been a long night.
Say when.
Now.
Rugged individualist. Decided to do that manuscript with me?
Not what I had in mind, lady.
Maybe you'll tell me what you did have in mind.
You were closer to Buddy Huckle than most people know.
Just so, sir.
Huckle had a reputation as a poet. He set you up as editor of Folk Stuff magazine. But you were pretty rich, even for his blood.
You know, you're wrong, Mr. Reagan.
I am?
But it makes a good story. More?
Why don't you try? Maybe it'll make more sense.
The magazine Folk Stuff does belong to me, Mr. Reagan. No strings. Although Huckle did like to spend money on women, I wasn't one of them.
Sounds good. Go on.
Buddy Huckle had a reputation that helped sell my magazine. There was only one thing. He couldn't write poetry.
Oh. So when you told me that Huckle didn't write a line that went into folk stuff, you weren't lying. Huh?
Even I couldn't stand his poetry. I made little changes here and there in every line. It gave me a sense of accomplishment. He didn't seem to mind.
Mm-hmm. Lonely Julie grabbed my lapels, held me tight, and kissed me, but I managed to break away after a while. I had to leave in the line of duty. And the man I had to see was the one that had last seen Buddy Huckle alive. George, the radio producer. I reached him at his home.
Mr. Reagan.
You produced Buddy Huckle's broadcast at the Ocean Stone Hotel last night.
Lousy show, no fire.
Yeah, but you were the last man to see Buddy Huckle alive.
No,
You must have seen something. What?
I stayed in the studio.
Talk, George. Open up.
Ow! I don't want to get mixed up in it.
Talk.
Let me alone. Now. All right. I got a police record back in Shy, Regan. You won't...
No deals. But make it the truth.
Okay. It was just I didn't want to get mixed up in no killing.
What'd you see?
I followed the star out of the studio like I always do to tell him it was a great show.
Yeah?
Only when I opened the door, I saw this little guy pop out of the crowd and plant his two hands against the star.
Buddy Huckle.
Yeah, and push him through the window.
Thanks, George. That's all I need.
I tried to step back before I saw it happen. I got a record, Regan.
Sure. Try not to worry, George. Everything may turn out all right. The little man, George, had seen push Huckle out of the window, could be Laszlo, Huckle's secretary. I checked all morning trying to find Laszlo, but he'd disappeared from the face of the earth. Then I got to thinking what kind of a guy Laszlo appeared to be. A thinker. Now, where would a thinker type go to hide if he was afraid of something? Someplace familiar to give him a sense of security, yet off the beaten path. It hit me. Sure. The public library. And that's where I found him. 2 flights below street level in the last reference room. Laszlo. His round popcorn white head was bent over a book. Hanging above his head was the public library sign, Silence.
It's you again.
Come with me, Laszlo.
No, you shan't take me alive.
Stop poking your pocket at me, Laszlo.
It's a dueling pistol. It belonged to Edgar Allan Poe, and it'll fire again in righteous cause.
Yeah, sure. Now listen, Laszlo. I know you finally blew your top about Huckle's poetry. You sent him those pasted notes threatening his life to keep him from writing any more.
He dictated his poetry. Dictated.
It's all over, Laszlo.
No. You can't prove anything.
You were seen pushing Huckle to his death.
Oh. Well, I just couldn't stand it any longer. Today, after you left, I held this dueling pistol to his head and made him dictate one of my poems for spite. And then I resigned.
Go on.
He put money ahead of art. With his reputation, he was going to win the Hotchkiss Prize without their even looking at his work, while my poetry would go begging. You realize that I am one of only 4 men in the world who really understands Gertrude Stein?
Go on, Laszlo.
I didn't want to hurt him, just frighten him into ceasing to write poetry.
You followed him to the broadcast last night.
Yes, it was the last resort. I was going to interrupt the broadcast, tell the world he was an imposter, not a poet.
Yeah, but you had the motto from his wall with you.
Yes, positive proof of his inartistic approach. His motto was drive. But I couldn't go through with it. I was leaving when...
You saw Huckle leave the scene of his latest triumph, the broadcasting studio. This was too much. You killed him.
I was blind with rage.
In pushing Huckle, you dropped the motto out of the window, huh?
Well, I don't know. I don't remember. It all happened so fast.
Let's forget the dueling pistol, Laszlo. Just come along quietly.
No, you shan't take me alive.
Hand that gun over, Laszlo.
No, stand back!
The dueling pistol went off in his hand. The bullet cracked the ceiling. I grabbed the gun away from Laszlo. He didn't put up much of a fight. And then I led him from the library as quietly as possible. Sanducci, down at Homicide, felt as sorry for Laszlo as I did. But now Laszlo should have plenty of time to write poetry and not worry about selling it. State'll take care of him. George, the radio producer, got a dressing down for withholding information, and I called Mona to tell her she was no longer under suspicion. And that wrote the end. It was high noon when I checked in with my boss, the Lion, at the bureau. He was reciting.
Oh, yesterday is but a dream, and tomorrow is only a vision.
You still can enter the poetry contest, Fatso?
Of course, my boy. The 10,000's as good as mine. I've just completed my work of art.
Okay. How does it go?
Oh, it's classic, Jeffrey. Reminiscent of ancient Sanskrit poetry. In translation, of course.
Well, I've had a hard night, but I'd like to hear it.
Well, you've heard most of it. I'll just give you the ending.
Go on.
And tomorrow is only a vision. But today, well lived, makes every yesterday a dream of happiness.
Ah, that's real fine.
Oh, yes. And every tomorrow a vision of hope. Why are you walking around?
Oh, just looking, Lion.
Now, you just sit still while I finish. Look well, therefore, to this day. Such is the salutation to the dawn.
Aha! What's this in your wastebasket?
Nothing, Jeffrey.
A library book.
Give me that.
Oh, no.
The cleaning woman must have dropped it there.
What title of book? Great Poems by Unknown Poets.
Yeah. Well, since nobody claims them, Jeffrey, it would be a shame to see them go to waste.
Jeff Reagan, Investigator, is written by William Frug and Gilbert Thomas, produced and transcribed by Sterling Tracy, and stars Frank Graham as Reagan with Frank Nelson as Anthony J. Lyon. Original music is by Dick Arant. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Leaving the world of deadly verses behind, you join Richard Diamond, private detective for the blue Serge suit. A high-end tailor reports a bizarre series of thefts, first a single specific suit, then all the matching material in his shop. Why is this particular blue serge fabric suddenly so valuable? And could its secret be worth killing for?
Here transcribed is Richard Diamond, Private Detective, starring Dick Powell.
Diamond Detective Agency. Put up or shut up.
Hi.
Oh, hi, Helen.
You busy?
Oh, like a hibernating bear.
No business?
I've seen more action in a bankrupt turtle farm.
Oh, things can't be that bad.
I'm even getting an echo in here.
Rick.
Really? Listen. Hello?
Hello?
See?
Rick, was that really an echo?
Oh, wait a minute. Hey, my girl wants to know if you're really an echo.
I beg your pardon.
Honey, I'll call you back. This echo has a man with it.
Bye.
Bye. Can I help you, sir?
I am looking for Mr. Richard Diamond.
Why?
Now, that's an extremely unique question. I want to sell him 10 tons of pig iron.
Well, I'm very sorry, but I made a New Year's resolution that I wouldn't build another battleship until I paid up my bill at the automat.
My name is Barr, David Barr. Now, if you'll stop talking like a television comedian, I would like to discuss a business arrangement.
Well, my name is Diamond, Richard Diamond. And if you're rolling in money, I'd be very happy to discuss any arrangement you could dream up.
How much do you charge, Mr. Diamond?
Well, that depends. Anything short of a felony, $100 a day in expenses.
How earthy?
Well, it keeps my ribs from showing.
Have you ever heard of me, Mr. Diamond?
Well, I have a feeling this may lose me a quick sale, but very frankly, Mr. Barr...
No matter, I can see by your clothes that your wardrobe must be fashioned exclusively by popular mechanics.
No. Well, okay, we've kicked it around. It's been fun, but I'm beginning to get winded. What do you want to see me for, Mr. Barr?
I want you to guard my store.
Store?
Yes, I have the most fashionable men's haberdashery and tailoring business on Madison Avenue.
And you want it guarded?
Perhaps I should give you some background concerning the disgusting incidents that led me to your,
office.
For the lack of a more sordid description, yes, office.
I'm sure the whole background must be very disgusting.
2 nights ago, my shop was vandalized.
Somebody broke in and swiped something.
Yes. To be exact, 1 blue serge suit.
One suit?
One. I reported the incident to the police, and they summed it up with the same brilliant observation as you. To quote the sergeant, somebody broke in and swiped something.
Now, look, Mr. Barr, don't tell me you want me to find that blue suit.
No, this was not the end of the trouble, Mr. Diamond.
Somebody lifted a hand-painted tie, maybe?
Naturally, my employees were questioned, and the following day the police returned to their little precinct, satisfied that somebody had merely...
busted in and swiped something.
Yes. Well, the following night, my shop was again the object of vicious vandalizing. This time, the party, or parties responsible, took every foot of blue serge material in the shop.
Oh, now, wait a minute. First, somebody breaks in and takes one blue serge suit. The next night, all the blue serge material in the store is stolen. What's the matter? Did you run out of suits?
All my suits are custom-tailored, Mr. Diamond.
Oh.
My stock of finished merchandise is generally sparse. We complete only 2 or 3 suits a day. The missing blue serge was hanging with 2 other suits. The property, of course, of one of my best customers.
And the thief didn't touch the other 2 suits?
No. And on the following night, the night of the second burglary, a gray flannel was left untouched.
The suit and the cloth stolen were both blue serge?
Correct. Naturally, I had to order another stock of the same material. It's in the shop now, and I should not be able to sleep a wink unless I was certain that it was safe.
And you want me to sit up with the blue serge?
Exactly. I am considerably interested in finding the motive behind these unusual robberies.
Oh, well, this is certainly a first in my life. I've sat up with a lot of things, but never 15 yards of blue serge. The illustrious Mr. Barr handed me a $100 retainer, made an observation on the pursuit of happiness, and went out of my office faster than a bad molar at a dentist convention. We had agreed to meet at his shop at 6 o'clock that evening. So I pasted the $100 bill to my instep, leaned back and dozed off, secure in the knowledge that money would never go to my head. Yeah?
Mr. Diamond, this is Mr. Barr.
Oh, yeah. Well, it isn't 6, is it?
It's 4:35. Mr. Diamond, am I correct in assuming that the moment you grabbed that $100, you became a member of my employ?
Well, you're correct. $100 worth.
Then please come immediately to number 6 Park Avenue. Something's happened, and I feel a complete breakdown coming on. Oh, come in.
Oh, what's happened?
Oh, if this keeps up, I may be living on dream pills. I've been eating them like peanuts.
Well, maybe if you gave me a hint.
I have been robbed.
Well, didn't we go through this thing in
Here, I've been robbed here in my apartment.
What?
I came home, took a bath, went in to get dressed, opened my wardrobe, and to my complete horror, found 3. My only 3 blue serge suits were missing.
Oh, no.
A potent reaction. Oh, no.
Mr. Barr's apartment was as overdone as he was. He led the way into a bedroom that George Washington wouldn't have slept in without an armed guard and opened his wardrobe. 2 dozen $300 suits stretched from one end of the closet to the other.
They were hanging right here in this space.
You sure they couldn't be at the cleaners?
They were here this morning.
Oh, what's that on the bed? That's a blue serge suit.
Mr. Diamond, that is the suit I was wearing when I came into your office.
No, well, I was so busy looking at your money,
Well, what is to be done?
Well, I got to admit it's sure a strange one.
You are constantly coming up with the most astute observations.
Oh? Wait till I get around to your personality.
What do you think is behind this ridiculous situation?
Very honestly, I don't know. Except the obvious. Somebody wants your blue serge suits and all the blue serge material you've got.
That blue serge on the bed is the last one I've got. Do you think this could be some kind of a practical joke?
Not very. It could get somebody 10 years.
Well, have you got any ideas at all?
Yes, I have. Take that last blue serge and hide it. I'll sit in your store tonight and see that the new material you ordered doesn't get lifted.
You take the suit, Mr. Diamond. You're being paid to protect it.
Okay.
And remember, it's new. It would cost you $300 to duplicate it. So for the sake of your home and kiddies, don't stuff your big shoulders into it.
He gave me the key to his store and told me how to shut off the burglar alarm. He gave me the phone number where I could reach him that evening in case something happened, draped the blue suit over my arm, and hurried me out of the room like he was getting rid of a plague victim. I grabbed a cab, and 10 minutes later, I was unlocking the door to my apartment. I started to toss Mr. Barr's suit on the bed, but thought better of it, so I went to the closet, opened the door, and reached for a hanger. Now, unlike Mr. Barr's wardrobe, I generally sport a variety of items. 4 pair of slacks and usually, mind you, I say usually, 2 suits. One of which I was wearing at the moment. The other was a blue serge. Was right, because where my blue serge suit once was, it wasn't. That did it. First, Barr loses everything in sight that happens to be blue serge. Then I come home and find that one of the 2 suits I had to my name had been swiped. I burned. I called Barr at home, but he'd left. One thing was sure. I had Mr. Barr's last blue serge suit, and nobody was going to get it away from me. Big shoulders or not, I put it on and headed for Barr's shop on Madison Avenue. I never made it.
Hold it.
Hey, what is this? Well, I'm only considering it because he's got a gun in my back.
Walked under that sedan by the curb.
Oh, I get car sick.
You heard him.
Oh, now look.
You heard him.
Yeah, I heard him. Would I be nosy if I asked?
Yeah, you would be very nosy. Get in the back.
Look, can I interest you boys in a deal? My secret decoder and my ray gun, if you'll only... They were both big boys, and they both had big guns. One of them slugged me with one of the big guns, and my head swelled up to match the whole ugly situation. I went down and out faster than a left fielder trying to steal home with a Charlie horse, and they rolled me into the car. We drove for a long time, me lying on the floor of the back seat, trying to bring myself back to a conscious way of thinking. Finally, I snapped out of it, and they let me sit up and take a look around. We were on a lonely stretch of road, and although the car was green, not black, and didn't look anything like a hearse, I had a gloomy feeling that we were heading for a funeral.
Get out.
Now, look.
You heard him.
Okay. Look, fellas, the least you can do is tell me...
Get out of that suit.
Get out of the suit?
You heard him.
Take it off. Take it off quick.
Well, okay. Would you mind turning your backs?
You want to get belted again?
No. I'll take it off.
Take the coat, Hans.
Yeah, Hans. Here.
Now the pants. Come on.
Oh, all right. But it's cold. I'm getting goosebumps.
Hand him the pants.
Oh, there you are, Hans. Oh, so you're the guys who've been after the blue serge suits.
Walk him off the road, Hans.
Yeah, what if a car came by, me in my hand-painted shorts?
Get him off far enough so they won't find him right away.
Move! Oh, now look.
You heard him.
Yeah, I sure did. I kept walking with Hunts right behind me, his big gun pointed to the middle of my back. I could stand losing my clothes, but I'd grown to enjoy my life. So I decided I'd have to get that gun away from Hunts somehow. We were 50 yards from the road when I tried it. Give me that gun! Come on, give it to me! Well, I guess you didn't hear what I said. Hunts had tried his best to put a hole in me, but like most guys who think they've got a sure thing, he forgot a small item called luck. In this case, all of it on my side. I left him lying on his face in the moonlight and headed back for the car. But the other gunsel evidently saw my white shorts bounding over the landscape and decided it was time to leave. I tried a shot at him and then went back to find Hunts and borrow a pair of pants. Sometimes when things happen that fast, a guy gets careless. Now, I'd figured Hunts, being wounded, would be in the same spot I left him. But when I got back to the spot, the one-sentence killer was nowhere in sight. Somewhere in the distance, I heard a branch snap, so I knew that Hunts was on his way back home. I was getting too cold in my undies to start chasing him, so I went back to the road and walked until I spotted a house. Any other time, I would have considered carefully before walking up to a front door, attired only in my underwear. Thank goodness they weren't blue serge. I figured I could say I was a cross-country runner with a bad sense of direction. I rang the doorbell and waited.
Yes.
Could I use your phone? Oh, shut up, Walt.
Boy, did you look silly when they dragged you in here.
I don't know. Otis thought it was a burlesque raid and asked me for a date.
Would you mind telling me what you were doing running around like that?
Well, that woman's husband was chasing me. What did you think I was doing?
Well, you can't blame the old man for chasing you. You scared his wife right out of her wig. Now, why don't you tell me what this is all about?
Because I don't know.
Well, how'd you lose your clothes?
Let me make a phone call, and I'll tell you all about it. I put in a call to David Barr and asked him to meet me at the store. Then I briefed Walt on everything up to date. Walt said...
Are you nuts?
And I left before I had to lie. I went back to my apartment, climbed back into the only suit I had left, and 20 minutes later, I was standing in David Barr's shop on Madison Avenue. I explained the events of the last couple of hours, and Mr. Barr said...
Disgusting.
You bet.
I just can't understand it.
Move over.
Don't you have any theories at all?
Well, vague ones. That blue suit that you gave me. Tell me about it.
The material was originally ordered for a customer who failed to show up, so I had it made up for me.
Where did you get your cloth?
Black and Winterfield. Although I'm certain you've never enjoyed the benefit of their merchandise, you must have heard of them.
What customer was the material ordered for originally?
Oh, not one of my steady customers. He left a deposit.
Well, what was his name?
Kingsley. Leonard Kingsley, a small man with a preposterous stomach. I had to order 4 yards.
Well, this Mr. Kingsley. He's never called or gotten in touch with you?
No. So needing another blue suit, I use the material for myself. If he comes in, I can always order more material.
Didn't you take his measurements?
He was in a hurry. He picked out the Serge from the book, gave me a deposit, and told me he'd be back that afternoon for the measurements. That was over a month ago. What are you driving at, Diamond?
How do I know? I'm just fishing. The whole thing has got something to do with blue Serge material and that blue suit.
You're getting disgustingly repetitious. I suppose you're going to tell me this Kingsley sent 2 hired killers to steal my goods because he thought it was easier than coming in for a fitting.
I don't know. Where's your phone?
On the desk. It's the only thing in the whole shop that looks anything like a phone. Honestly.
I got more of a description of Leonard Kingsley and put in a call to Walt at the precinct. I gave him the information, asked him to run a check. Then I said goodnight to Mr. Barr and settled back in a chair to guard the store. I'd been sleeping about an hour when Walt called back.
What do you know about this Leonard Kingsley, Diamond?
Oh, now, there's a brilliant question. Why do you think I called you up? I don't know anything. I want to find out.
Well, where did you hear about him?
From my client.
That bar guy you told me about?
That's right. This Leonard Kingsley came into his store, ordered a suit, never came back.
That was because he couldn't.
Come back?
Yeah. About a month ago, this Leonard Kingsley was killed in a car accident. Stepped off the curb and a car hit him.
You sure it was an accident?
Yep. Woman hit him. There was an inquest. Witnesses say it was all Kingsley's fault.
All right. What's the rest?
Rest?
Oh, stop with the Little Red Riding Hood. Something's up.
Well, this is confidential, Rick.
Well, it'll stay that way.
The FBI have got a share in this thing.
What?
It seems that when a check was run to find Kingsley's home and relatives, all of the credentials he had on him turned out to be phonies, particularly his passport.
What did the feds find out?
Kingsley was from one of the Iron Curtain countries. Espionage.
All right. Well, Paul Revere with a shoulder holster.
I want some answers, Mr. Barr. How many customers can you remember who came into your shop and ordered only one suit in the last year?
Half a dozen.
How many never came back after they got the one suit? Well, what's the matter?
That's peculiar. Everyone I can remember, and they're comparatively easy because most of my customers are steady.
Go on. What about these single customers?
Every one of them ordered a blue Serge.
And you got all the material from Black and Winterfield?
Yes.
The whole thing was beginning to make sense. What better way of getting information out of the country than in the material of a suit? I dragged Barr down to the store again, got the names of all his single customers who had ordered blue Serge suits. Then I went over to the 5th Precinct and had Walt make a check on them. 2 hours later, the U.S. Customs Department sent in an interesting teletype.
Rick, every one of those guys have left the country and hasn't returned.
And 8 to 5, the FBI can find out plenty. Well, give them the information. Let's go over to Black and Winterfield. I want to take a look at that store. See if I can find out how anyone can hide any kind of information in 3.5 yards of blue Serge.
There it is. Dark.
Yep, come on.
What do you think you're going to do?
Well, we're going in that store and take a look around.
You can't do that. Not without a warrant.
All right, Fatty, just so you won't disgrace that lovely badge, I'll go in first, and you can come in and arrest me for breaking and entering.
Now, Rick, you wait a minute.
Walt, they know I got away. We can't wait. Hey.
What's the matter? What are you looking at?
That car in the alley.
What about it?
Looks like the one those two killers took me for a ride in. Come on.
Well?
Looks like it. Wait a minute. I took a shot at it, and maybe I can...
Wait, I'll light a match.
Uh-huh. Yes, sir. Here it is. Nice little bullet hole.
Well, I
think one of my little headhunters is in that building. Still want to get a warrant?
Let's go. How are we going to get in?
Oh, you'll figure something out. You're really a second-story man at heart.
Rick, wait a minute.
What is it?
Look at this. Isn't that blood?
Looks like both of them are here. Leads right in the door.
Locked.
Let's go around back. We ducked around back and spent the next 10 minutes jimmying the window. And Walt couldn't have been more professional if he'd done time in Sing Sing. He jimmied it without a sound and knew just how to disconnect the alarm. We squeezed through and dropped to the floor. We were in a basement, and from somewhere in another part of the building, we could hear a radio playing softly. We went up the steps to the first floor and stopped to listen. The radio was to our left, down a long corridor. We stayed against the wall and edged our way toward a door at the end of the hall. A thin strip of light showed at the crack, and we moved up and listened, holding our breath.
How you feeling, Hans? Well, try and take it easy. And the boss is coming with the doc.
They're both in there.
Let's take them.
Hold it.
Music making you feel better, huh?
No, Gabe.
Well, you want something better, maybe? Artie Shaw pick you up, maybe?
No. Turn it off.
Okay. Don't you worry. I'll get that shamus for shooting you. And the boss will be real happy when he sees we got the suit.
Okay, let's take them, Walt.
Look out behind you, Rick.
Happened so fast there wasn't any time to think. Suddenly there were two men standing behind us in the hall. By the time the smoke cleared, both of them were down, and Walt and I were shaking like a hula dancer with a hot foot. Then, before we could catch our breath, Gabe came running out.
I'll get him, Rick.
No, I'll get him. You go in and take care of the wounded one. Walt went in after Hunts, and I took off after the other. I caught him just as he dove through the front door. Hold it.
Okay. I'm bleeding.
All right. Let's have it.
I'm bleeding. Get a doctor.
The ambulance is on the way. Now tell us about it.
What do you want to know?
We want to know about the suits and about the material, and who the guys are in the hall.
One of them's a doctor for Hunsia. The other one's the boss. He runs the store.
You were getting information out of the country and the Blue Serge material.
Yeah.
What kind of information?
All kinds. Defense plans, radar locations, that kind of stuff. Done all in code numbers.
How did they do it?
Stuff was invisible like. Just drew it on the Blue Serge. When the guy got out of the country, he'd take the suit and dip it in something. Then the writing come out.
And when Kingsley got hit by the car, you found out he didn't have the suit.
The boss did. How about it, Hunts? How do you feel?
Why did you swipe my suit?
We was tailing Bar. Saw him going to your office. Figured maybe he'd give you the suit.
Well, there it is, Rick.
How about it, Hunts? Your partner telling the truth?
You heard him.
From a case seemingly stitched together with deadly secrets, our final feature comes from the Screen Director's Playhouse. Adapting the thrilling film, Chicago Deadline, a reporter finds the address book of a woman discovered dead in a cheap hotel room. As he contacts the names within a list featuring the city's powerful and dangerous, the body count starts to rise. Can he piece together her hidden story before he becomes the final entry?
Screen Director's Playhouse, star Alan Ladd, production Chicago Deadline, director Lewis Allen.
The Hollywood Screen Directors present the transcribed journal of a phantom search. Tonight, for the first time on the air, the motion picture drama Chicago Deadline, starring Alan Ladd in his original role of Ed Adams.
pale half-light of a hospital room, a man and a woman stand beside a bed, watching the bright, restless eyes of Ed Adams and hearing his scattered words.
Rosita didn't have to die. Had to tell them. Make them understand. Rosita, everything in address book. Rosita didn't.
He's sick, Doctor. So sick.
Fever from the bullet wound.
It is a good hospital, isn't it? You'll take care of him.
Of course. Make them understand. Miss Purdy, you said Mr. Adams is a reporter?
A reporter. Ed says they build him tough in Chicago.
Who's this Rosita? Is he in love with her?
In a way, I guess. He must have fallen in love with her. I don't know when. Last night, today.
We should find her.
I know where she is, Doctor.
Where?
The city morgue. She died yesterday morning.
Leona!
Yes, Ed. It's Leona.
I wanted to help her. I wanted to help Rosita.
Ed, you can't help her anymore.
Leona.
You have to sleep.
Tired.
Sleep.
Rosita. Listen, Rosita. You gave me a deadline until you were buried. I had till then to find out your story. To tell them the truth about you. And now they'll bury you tomorrow. I tried, Rosita. From the beginning, yesterday morning.
I run a straight hotel, Ed.
Maggie, I told you there's $10 in it if anything happens to your hotel. And you call me at the Chronicle before you call the cops.
Well, I did, Ed.
All right, here's your $10. Now, what's up?
Right in this room here. It's a girl. She's dead.
Yeah, what killed her?
Just up and died. Sick, Ed. TB.
Oh? I paid $10 to find out a girl died from TB in this flea trap?
What'd you expect, Ed? Lincoln's assassination?
Well, let's have a look at her. Why, she's just a kid.
Yeah, pretty kid, too.
Great way to check out, isn't it? What's her name, Maggie?
Oh, it's French or something. Rosita Jean Dure.
Rosita Jean Dure. She have any baggage?
Yeah, those few things on the dresser, Ed.
The worldly possessions of Rosita Jean Dure. Lipstick, nail file, address book. Names, phone numbers. Must be 100.
Did you find anything interesting?
It's hard to say, Maggie. Maybe I'll go back to the office and make about 50 phone calls and find out. Okay, Peg, I fixed it with the city desk.
Yeah?
You're working with me on the story.
What's the deal, Ed? All this fuss about an address book.
I borrowed it, Pig. From a sweet-faced kid named Rosita Jean Dure. She died this morning.
So?
So a girl nobody knows conks off in a crummy hotel room. No friends, no relatives, just an address book full of names.
What names?
Read 'em. Solly Wellman, gangster. Blackie Franshaw, gangster. John Spingler, gangster.
So she knew people.
And that means that people knew her. But every time I ask about Rosita Jean Dure, they get sudden attacks of galloping amnesia.
No kidding.
Listen in. Let's try this name, G.G. Temple.
Temple? He's a big wheel, Ed. President of the Iroquois Trust.
Hello?
Mr. Temple?
Yes.
Ed Adams, Chronicle.
How did you get my private number?
From Rosita Jean Dure, just before she died this morning.
I never heard of her.
Oh? Funny, she had your private number, isn't
Mr. Adams, if the Chronicle connects my name with this woman, I'll sue the paper for every cent it has.
it? See, Pig? Just a girl nobody ever heard of. Let's try the next one.
Hello?
Tommy?
Yes?
This is a friend of Rosita's, Tommy.
Oh?
She died this morning. Hello? Tommy?
Yes.
I'm a newspaper man, Ed Adams. I was wondering, Tommy, could you identify the body for us?
Yes.
Can you make it at 8 o'clock tonight at the morgue?
Yes.
Tommy? Tommy? Well, at least somebody admits knowing her.
Some fun. Let's try again, huh?
Here's Belle Dorset listed at the Lander Arms.
Lander Arms?
Belle Dorset, please.
Hello.
Hello, Belle. This is a friend of Rosita's.
Rosita?
She just died, Belle.
I don't know her. I never heard of her. Let me alone.
Just a girl pig. And you bounce the corpse down the street, and suddenly you've got the place all to yourself.
What next, Strongheart?
Next? First, I want to call back the operator at the Landor and offer a fin to find out where Belle Dorset goes if she leaves the apartment house.
Gotcha.
And I'm going hunting with Rosita's address book until I find out why and how. I'm getting sore, pig.
So you're the guy the newspaper phoned about.
That's right. What about Belle Dorset? Did she leave after that phone call?
Bag and baggage, son. No forwarding address.
Next in the book, Mr. John Spingler. You hear about Rosita?
What about her?
She's dead, Spingler. TB.
I don't know her. But I'll stake her to a funeral if you'll keep it quiet.
All right, Rosita. Let's try the next name in your address book. Let's try Leona Purdy.
Hi.
Leona Purdy?
Yeah, this is where the party is. Come on in.
Thanks.
Well, who's friend of you?
I'm a friend of Rosita's.
Who are you?
I'm a reporter, Ed Adams.
Want to tell me about it, Ed?
Want to tell me about Rosita?
Why?
She's dead.
Oh,
Talk, Leona?
not now.
When?
Later. Don't look at me like that. I promise I won't make a pass at you.
My mother will be glad to know. Now, if you'll pardon me, baby, I'm going to go and cool off.
Where?
The city morgue. Is that her, Tommy?
Yes, that's her. That's Rosita.
Who was she?
My sister.
Tell me about her, Tommy.
She ran away when she was only 17. Married a fellow named Paul Jandeur.
Where is he now?
He was killed in an automobile accident 4 years ago, but she wasn't happy with him. She was terribly hurt by something that happened to their marriage.
And after he died?
Rosita came here to Chicago. She moved around a lot. But every year on my birthday, we had dinner.
Hey, Ed.
Yeah?
Pig's on the phone at the office holding a call for you on the board.
Okay. Hello?
Ed, I got Blackie Francho on the board. He called in. You remember him?
Yeah, sure. He's in Rosita's book. Big shot mobster about a year or so ago. We'll put him on, Pig.
Hello?
Hello, Blackie. This is Adams.
Yeah, I want to tell you about Rosita.
Well, I'll be right over.
Hurry it up, Adams. I want... Rosita. I loved her.
Blackie, who was it? Who shot you?
I just killed Blackie Francho. Adams, be smart. Leave it alone. Forget Rosita. Ed, this is Pig at the office. Who was that guy?
How do I know? We just had a direct line to Blackie Francho's murder.
Why do you have to go and get himself killed off now?
Why? Because a girl died this morning. A girl nobody ever heard of. A girl named Rosita. Listening to the Screen Directors Playhouse production of Chicago Deadline, starring Alan Ladd and presented by RCA Victor.
see, I tried, Rosita. I found a few scraps of your life, bits and pieces, from the people who wouldn't talk and those who did. I found out that Blackie Franchot loved you. He told me as he died. I left the morgue, Rosita, and started for his apartment. I just stepped out of the cab, and then I found another piece of your life.
Adams?
Solly Wellman. I've been wondering when you'd turn up.
Get in the car. We can talk.
Won't that be nice?
Now, why would I turn up, Adams?
You left your calling card in Rosita Jean Dore's address book.
Too bad about Rosita.
Too bad about Blackie Franchot.
What happened to him?
An hilarious attack of murder. Solly, what did Rosita have to do with this?
Nothing.
I'll find out, Solly.
Look, Adams, nobody likes to hurt reporters, but sometimes a wise guy brings it on himself. That's the end of our talk. Here's where you get out.
Maybe next time we talk, Wellman, I can make it more exciting.
I said get out.
Yeah. Thanks for the ride. Hello, Leona.
Well, the man did come back.
On business.
At this time of night? Get out of my apartment.
Blackie Franchot was shot tonight.
Oh, Ed.
That means something, huh?
Ed, forget Rosita. You'll get into trouble.
I'm already in trouble. Where does Blackie fit in? How does it happen that a guy who loved her gets knocked off after she's dead?
I don't know, Ed. Rosita and I were roommates. Blackie Franchot was in the rackets, but a nice guy. He made a play for Rosita. Well, at first she didn't want any part of him. Then she began to trust him and like him and love him.
What happened?
Party one night. A lot of big shots were there.
Yeah, who?
A gilt-edged gunman named Solly Wellman.
We've met.
And a dollar-happy financier named G.G. Temple.
Of the Iroquois Trust. He's another guy who made Rosita's edition of Who's Who. And Rosita was at the party with Blackie?
They were dancing together. Then John came over and tapped Blackie on the shoulder.
John? John who?
John Spingler. He works for Solly Wellman.
Big-hearted Spingler. He wants to stake Rosita to a funeral.
He told Blackie that Solly Wellman wanted to see him.
Who was Solly with?
His girl, Belle Dorset.
Belle Dorset, sure. There must have been some party.
Why?
Because all those names turned up in Rosita's address book. They must have given her something to remember.
I guess they did. Because as soon as Blackie left her to talk to Solly, another man asked her to dance. It was G.G. Temple.
How big a play did he make?
Very big.
What about Blackie Franchot?
He was still number one with Rosita. Then she visited him one evening. She found him beaten to a pulp. Rosita took him out of town. He recovered, but his nerve was gone. He ran away.
And Rosita?
We lost each other. But I heard she was doing all right.
With G.G. Temple?
That's right, with G.G. Temple.
Strange kid. How does it all fit together, Leona? She was tied in with Blackie, and Blackie's dead. She was tied in with Temple, and he's scared green. So is Solly Wellman. So is John Spingler. What's the connection?
Spingler worked for Wellman. That's all I know.
I wonder what Rosita was really like. Leona, I can't get her face out of my mind.
She was all right, Ed. Like a fine locomotive that hits the wrong switch and rides onto the wrong track.
Yeah. Who pulled the switch? Who let her die?
She was sick.
So that makes it all right, huh?
No, Ed.
No. Somebody was responsible. Somebody in that little address book of hers.
Where are you going?
Oh, I don't know. Walk, think, pull names out of a hat. It'll be morning soon. Maybe by then, maybe we'll be able to do something for Rosita. Good night, baby. Think it isn't working. None of it hangs together.
Boy, this Rosita was some doll. We had to bury her right here in the city room.
Now, don't be cute, not now.
Okay. I'm still trying to track down Belle Dorset.
Well, stick with it, Pig. And check on John Spingler, the heart of gold who offered to bury Rosita.
Somebody else did, too, Ed. The Moore got an envelope with $500 in it.
Pig, I want you to arrange a funeral for me. Tomorrow morning, small and quiet and no circusing.
Right. Where are you going now?
I'm going to crash the private office of G.G. Temple.
I told you once, Adams, stay out of my hair.
All I want to do is thank you, Mr. Temple.
For what?
The $500 for Rosita's funeral.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You knew Blackie Francho, didn't you, Temple? And Solly Wellman and Belle Dorset and John Spengler. You were with them at the party where you met Rosita.
Now, see here,
Bad
Adams.
company for a big financial man like you, Temple. Do you want to hear more?
I do not.
You went crazy over Rosita. But she wouldn't have any part of you until Blackie Francho was mugged and run off. A guy named Solly Wellman did it. You work well together, don't you, Temple? You and Solly Wellman.
Get out of this office.
Sure. Kind of warm in here, isn't it? It'll get warmer, pal. Just for example, let's look at Rosita's address book. I think I'll pay a call on Mr. Hotspur Shaner. Then a woman named Hazel. Mean anything, Mr. Temple?
Mr. Adams, I can't believe that Rosita is dead. She was the finest young woman I've ever met.
How did you meet her?
My nephew brought her to the house, John Spengler.
Spengler?
Rosita left me about 4 months ago, suddenly. I think she and my nephew had a spat of some kind.
Sit tight, Shaner. I'll get it. Hello?
Mr. Shaner?
Who's this?
The police, homicide. You got a nephew by the name of John Spengler?
What about him?
He was found shot to death in a ditch 1 hour ago.
Hazel, you say you were Rosita's maid.
She was a nice person, Mr. Adams.
Then why did you leave her?
I didn't exactly leave. She came home one night with Mr. Temple. They were quarreling. I heard her scream and a kind of a thud. Then Mr. Temple came in, and he told me that Miss Rosita was going away, that she wouldn't need me no more.
Is that all you know, Hazel?
That's all I know.
Ed, boy, am I glad you phoned.
What's up, Pig?
We just got a police report. Gigi Temple has committed suicide. Blew his brains out.
Sure he would. All right, Pig, that clears up most of it. Have you got a line on Belle Dorset yet?
Well, I meant to tell you about that. She's staying at her mother's. Here's the address. 674 West Hart.
Hello, Belle.
How did you find me? What do you want?
Some talk about Rosita?
I don't know anything.
I do. I know Solly killed Blackie Francho. Blackie hated Solly like death because of that beating, and I know Temple was financing Solly in the rackets.
I don't want to hear any more. I don't want to listen.
Blackie was afraid to move in on Solly Wellman because he thought they had Rosita. But when he heard Rosita was dead, well, Solly knew it was either him or Blackie, and Solly got there first.
Go on, Adams. Keep talking. Right into the gun.
Solly Wellman. Tough Solly Wellman. Break a girl apart for a buck.
How do you figure it?
Gigi Temple. When he had that fight with Rosita, he knocked her down. She was unconscious. But he was sap enough to think he'd killed her. And he called you, Solly. The only one who could get rid of the body for him.
You're making lots of noise.
But you found out Rosita was alive. You wanted her dead. Out of the way so you could shake down Gigi Temple. And you made a mistake, Solly. You gave her to John Spengler.
So?
Spengler didn't kill her. He liked her. So he took her to his uncle's place to hide out. Everything was fine until Spengler began getting amorous. He forced Rosita to run away. She was alone again now. Alone and beaten and ashamed. And she just gave up. She gave up and died. Solly, you killed Blackie out of fear, and you killed Spengler for double-crossing you. And you scared Gigi Temple into suicide. A triple play, Solly. Congratulations.
Not a triple play, Adams. 4-part harmony. And because you're so smart, you're the 4th part.
What about Belle here? Going to kill your girl, too, Solly? She knows now.
Solly?
Sure, maybe we can rig up something. Maybe the two of you together. You know, double shooting.
Solly!
You rotten gun-heavy!
You asked for it, Adams.
Solly, turn around.
What?
You killed him.
He was going to kill me. Operator? Mr. Adams has been shot. Call an ambulance.
Now they'll know, Rosita. They'll know all of it. You'll be buried tomorrow, and maybe there'll be somebody to care. I'm sorry, Rosita. Truly sorry. But you were important. Everybody's important. Now they'll know, Rosita. They'll know all of your story.
Ed, you should be sleeping.
Hello, Leona.
Hello, Ed. You were restless, talking.
What about?
Rosita, her story. What was it, Ed?
Just a story. Read it in the papers.
This is Jimmy Wallington speaking. You have just heard the last act of Chicago Deadline.
Ladies and gentlemen, you might think that the appropriate director for Chicago Deadline would be a former newspaperman born in Chicago. You'd be wrong. He's a former merchant seaman born in England. And if you ask why he's appropriate, it's because the guy can do anything. Now I'd like you to meet him, the versatile director of such other pictures as The Uninvited, The Perfect Marriage, and So Evil My Love, Louis Allen.
Thank you, Alan. You know, with Chicago Deadline, I'm convinced I made motion picture history.
How, Lou?
I directed a film in which Alan Ladd didn't get the girl.
Well, you have to admit Rosita was a hard girl to strike up a conversation with.
On the other hand, Alan, as I listened to the show tonight, I thought she made the ideal leading lady.
Are you speaking as an actor or a director?
Oh, definitely as a director. In the first place, she showed absolutely no temperament.
An angel to work with.
Exactly. In the second place, we didn't have to pay her.
Financially sound. And in the third place?
In the third place, it was a pleasure to have no love scenes to direct.
Lou, you were speaking as a director. Now speak as an actor.
As an actor, I despise a director who gave me a leading lady like that. Good night, Alan.
Good night, Lou. And no hard feelings. Good night, everyone.
And good night to you, Alan Ladd and Louis Allen. Chicago Deadline, from a novel by Tiffany Thayer, was adapted for radio by Richard Allen Simmons. And original music was composed and conducted by William Lava. Screen Directors Playhouse is produced by Howard Wiley, with dramatic direction by Bill Karn.
From romantic mishaps and poetic peril to tailored espionage and journalistic danger, this episode of classic radio drama theater delivered a fantastic mix of intrigue and suspense. We hope you enjoyed this journey through the golden age of radio, featuring the versatile talents of Jim Backus and stars like Alan Ladd. Which story captivated you the most tonight? Share your favorite in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss another collection of radio classics. Until next time, remember, the best stories echo through time.